If there's one fight that boxing fans across the world have been waiting to see, it's this one. The fight world has been shaking in anticipation to witness the Gypsy King defend his titles against the formidable heavyweight. Boxing critics have dubbed this the fight of the decade. But who on earth could we be talking about? Ever since Tyson Fury faced off Deontay Wilder for the first and final time in October 2021, there's only one other heavyweight out there that critics say has a chance. That's right, you guessed correctly. This one's no other than Joyce, aka the Juggernaut. This young British incumbent has made an astounding name for himself in the world of boxing. It's not hard to see when you look back at how he has consistently smashed his way to the top.
No, important is to stop. Right hand from Joyce! Joyce all over his man, working behind a clubbing left jab and an arcing right around the corner.
Difficult for Lembo Thomas to cope with, to be honest.
Well, Thomas down, right.
Volley shot from Mr. Off, but he takes one back and another. And Joyce is going looking for him. And a big left hand putting him down. Oh, he's caught him, he's gone. I think he thought he was going to go. I think he thought he was. Oh, he's gone now. Big left hand. And what a performance.
Joe literally clobbers his opponents into submission every time. In fact, those who have had the privilege of witnessing Tyson Fury's sparring sessions have said it's something of a freak of nature how graciously this man is able to move in the ring, given his astounding size. This is Fury's strength, his movement, footwork, agility, and technique, but not necessarily power. At 6'9", Fury's size is certainly nothing to joke about. The Gypsy King is indeed an absolute giant, and not someone you would want to trade punches with. But the Juggernaut, Joyce, is hardly a dwarf in comparison, coming in at 6'5" himself. Just looking at the physique of both men here, it's certainly hard to choose which one of these men we would rather be punched by. But when you look closer at Joyce's record, you could be forgiven for fearing him the most. Previous opponents of Joyce have described his punches as like being hit by a brick wall.
Joyce there.
And a big left hand putting him down. Comfortably, and he's counted out. The fight's all over in the third.
He just beats you up. He goes in there, he's strong, he walks forward, and he just thumps you until you quit.
It certainly can't be fun to get hit like this. What about mobility? How does Joyce move in the ring?
Joyce is a tank. He just keeps coming forward and he just works away and plods away, and he looks a little bit awkward, looks slow, but he gets the job done.
Shots, but for the most part, there's a big oh my goodness!
Not bad at all. That said, it's all very well doing somersaults and cartwheels, but how does Joyce's technical boxing ability match up against Fury? Just look at the way Joyce dealt with Daniel Dubois in one of the most recent fights here. Before this fight took place, many critics had praised Daniel Dubois' boxing IQ. They believed that in this fight between two undeniable powerhouse punchers, Dubois was the most likely to use his skill in order to win. Dubois was the young, unstoppable force who pundits picked to knock that Juggernaut off course. In fact, what happened was the opposite. Joyce's intelligent use of his jab was enough to chip away at his opponent until Dubois was unable to continue. Joyce said himself, "I was landing my jab every time with accuracy and force." Indeed, this strategy proved so effective that Daniel Dubois chose to remove himself from the firing line and take a knee in the 10th round of this huge domestic showdown. Joyce's relentless full body weight jabs actually caused a fracture in Dubois' orbital bone and left his nerve endings in agony. Fortunately, Dubois has successfully recovered from the devastating injury. But could we see Joyce inflict the same kind of damage on the Gypsy King? The truth is, it may be highly unlikely. Despite Joyce being an incredible power puncher, Tyson Fury is now considered to be excellent at fighting opponents of this style. Fury uses his supernatural agility to avoid being hit and consistently confuse any incumbent. This was perhaps most obvious in his legendary clash with Vladimir Klitschko.
The Weltmeister, Dr. Stillhammer.
Unpredictability, the big question, what happens next?
My commands at all times above all, protect yourselves at all times.
Giving him any chance with that reach advantage as he's...
The most experienced of world champions.
Here we see just how Fury was able to outsmart, outclass, and completely confuse Klitschko, the long reigning champion of the time. Fury employed smart techniques, like switching stance from orthodox to southpaw. This, along with excellent head movement, footwork, and jab execution, was enough to diminish Klitschko's mojo. Although Tyson was hit by a few big shots, his clever technique meant he was able to land a few of his own. Seeing how the Gypsy King moves like a ballet dancer in the ring is enough to make us question whether Joe Joyce would be able to land a blow here. Many have said that Joyce's aggressive fighting style could pose a serious challenge for Fury. Some fight fans believe Joyce has the power to put Fury on the canvas in the same way that Steve Cunningham did back in 2013. We all remember when this happened, right? But the truth is, we are unlikely to see Fury make the same mistake again. In fact, the evidence is clear that the Gypsy King has improved significantly since the Cunningham fight. Anyone who questions this will do well to remember how Tyson Fury literally entered the Matrix in his 2019 fight.
Joyce trying his best. Look at Fury! What unbelievable upper body movement defensively. 4 punches missed with the head movement. He's got everything here in this second round going.
This was incredible. Not to mention many see Wallen as the similar style and shape as Joe Joyce. That said, Joyce will have to be seriously prepared if he's planning to land a knockout punch on Tyson Fury. That's for sure. But what if the Juggernaut is aware of all this? What if he prepares for this in his training and actually manages to knock Fury down with his sledgehammer punches? If Fury was to hit the canvas, would that be the end of him? Well, you must have been living under a rock with your head in the sand if you don't remember when this happened.
By Wilder. Oh, down goes Fury!
This was the incredible moment when Deontay Wilder, the heavyweight division's most powerful puncher, landed a clean shot on Fury's dome and sent him crashing down to the canvas. But what happened next? As we all remember, Fury showed supernatural strength, and after a brief pause, he actually got back up. It should be noted that Deontay Wilder, aka the Bronze Bomber, is the Pablo Picasso of knockouts and the absolute Sith Lord of boxing takedowns. Not only was Wilder unable to knock Fury out, Fury actually got back up and completely dominated the fight, which then ended with a win in his favor. Absolutely incredible. Indeed, this moment goes down in boxing history and provides us a clear evidence that using power punches against the Gypsy King is a strategy that has never proven to succeed. Joe Joyce may need to sharpen his toolkit and come up with a better plan for this one. But what about his boxing ability? Joyce showed excellent boxing against Daniel Dubois. Do we think he could do the same against Tyson Fury? Most fight fans would agree this would be seriously difficult. Tyson Fury is one of the most technically advanced boxers of his generation, and the idea of trying to outbox him seems destined to fail. Just look at the way he moves here. One cannot stress enough just how advanced Fury's boxing ability really is. Evidently, Joe Joyce will need to have a serious plan in order to stand a chance here. Relying on power punching or boxing ability alone is sure to fail. Despite this, many believe that if anyone is able to beat Tyson Fury, it's Joe the Juggernaut Joyce. But what about you? What do you think? Do you see Joe Joyce putting together a master plan to dismantle Tyson Fury's glorious reign at the top? Or will the Gypsy King put another jaw-dropping victory performance on this fantastic night for British heavyweight boxing? Let us know in the comment section below. No, seriously, stop what you're doing right now. Give this video a thumbs up to tell us what you think in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and right-hook the bell icon for future updates to our videos. Finally, for more detailed breakdown of this sport's greatest fighters, click the link in the description below for a cheeky watch that you'll wish you saw sooner.